Hey, we're up and recording. Greetings, welcome everybody. This is me, Wesley Pepper. Welcome to the Lexcia podcast. This is episode 234. Before I get to my guest today, yeah, man. Again, I know that my numbering is not always 100% on all the episodes. I kept saying I was gonna fix it this week, but to be honest, I was just fucking lazy. Um, but um, but not because I'm a lazy person, as you know, there was just a lot of happening. And in fact, the one major thing that actually threw me off. And before I introduce Andre, I just wanna start off with, as you know, on the 13th of May this year, a stalwart film and Maria McCloy passed away. I knew Maria personally. I just want to give a small tribute to her and just share a small story about her. I just feel it's quite necessary.
It is
I met
necessary,
Maria when
yes.
she yeah, man. I met her in the early 2000s when they were still with Rage.co.za. Um
Mm,
I mean, if those that remember, Rage was a very, very popular website. It sort of it was a competition with JHB Live back then. And she put me Maria put me on the mainstream, man. She put us on back then with Lebogang Tetlo. Were running with United Siblings, my company back then. And they
mm.
interviewed us three times on their show over space of could have been 3 years, 2 years, I'm not 3 years, 2 years, I'm not sure. But back then I felt like a fucking celebrity, man. And like I have to give her props to that because I've also attended a lot of her gigs that she was involved with. There was always like a serious there was it I mean, her professionalism was just on another level, man. And I mean, she was also a proud Pan-Africanist. And she was
Mm.
also a really a pro arts, and she had a big role to play in the hip hop culture and all of that. But specifically with my career, I mean, before I met Rage and Maria Umakwe, I don't think anybody knew me in the art world in general, and I was eternally grateful for that. I was actually with Gallery 360. We actually pinned it down, and somebody we wanted to talk to in terms of promotion when we when we go mainstream or live or public or whatever. I was definitely looking forward to contacting and working with her. So it's a damn shame, man, and it's just yeah, man, the whole thing just set me back. I mean, I feel she was still so young. Another friend of mine, Matete Mosaledi, also passed away because
Yeah,
of a heart condition of a few years ago. So it just highlighted. I was talking to a few friends of mine this week about how short life is, and just reflecting on her career. And just from the Art Lexia podcast, we're gonna say, may soul rest in peace, rest in power. My sister, she sure made a impact on me too. Um, and it was really, really, really sad. So
yeah.
yeah, with that said, firstly, good morning, Andre, man. Yeah, it's a bit of a morbid way
Hi,
to
good,
start a
good, good
recording.
morning, Wesley.
But how are you, man?
No. I'm very well. But before I tell you about myself, I just want to add to what
Yeah,
you've
please.
just, your tribute to this wonderful artist is that it is I'm almost, well, in 3 years, I'm 70. So I'm now the old school dude that
Mm,
I hope I inspire the young people. But to lose mentors and promoters like she did with you, that is a really, that's a turning point in an artist's life. I don't know
yeah,
if you agree with me.
it does. It does. She was a real stalwart, man, and I guess there's as an artist, I'm sure you can relate. Through your career, you work with many different people. I know I have. I've collaborated with
Mm,
many, many different, and she stuck out. She made an
yes,
impression. She made an impression.
absolutely.
And just a passion for the not just for the hip hop industry, but for the arts in general, especially visual art. Um, yeah, man, it was
Yeah.
just these things. These things. I'm in my late 40s, and when somebody dies suddenly, it makes a it
It's not
makes
like,
the
I mean,
point.
recently, Peter Terry died. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
familiar with Peter.
yeah. I'm aware of him. Yes,
He's
yes,
one of the
yes, yes,
yeah, he's one
yes,
of the big stalwarts in this industry, and
yes,
he was also, in
yeah.
a sense, a mentor to me. Um, you know, when I was at PACT, the last production I did at PACT, there he was the artistic director, and he's always interested in what I did, or what everybody does, but
Mhm.
specifically, he would send an email just to say, I saw your performance in this play. I just want to tell you this and this, and it inspires one. It does, you know.
Mhm. That's it. Absolutely
Yeah, and I mean
does. And
the person that I can, in terms of a mentor was Lucille Gilbert. She did a lot of productions at the Market Theatre. I don't know if well that is was in the 80s. In the 80s, yeah. You were born, yeah, you were already born then.
no,
But she did a
I
lot
was
of
born that, but
productions.
I was still pretty young back then.
Very young, so you wouldn't really know her. But she was a giant in the theatre industry, as much as somebody like Francois Swart at PACT.
Mm,
I mean, he was one of the you know the founding members of the PACT company, and
mm.
so it was incredible, and one must count your blessings if when you
Yeah,
have an
yeah,
opportunity to learn from these
yeah,
giants.
yep.
Really, it is. And in our industry these days, I mean, I'm talking specifically about the theater industry,
Mm.
um, the young people don't get as many opportunities like my generation did in theater specifically. You know, I mean, you can do a wonderful soapy with wonderful senior actors, but you can just observe. There's no time to mentor the younger actors. The younger
Mm.
actors can just sit and observe, which is also a learning school. I don't say it's not.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, so it's
times have changed, and just a closing point on that. I just think post COVID has been hell for
it
creatives. We've been dealing
it
with
has been done.
adversities that is just bigger than everybody. And it's actually fascinating because on this very platform here, I've been talking to others weekly about it, about not just
Yeah.
their struggles, but how they, for example, like I mentioned offline about how they're dealing with technology, um, and things like that. It's been, not everybody deals with change the same, and most of the change post COVID was something that nobody could. I mean, it's completely out of everybody's control. I mean, now we have all these high
Yes,
fuel prices, which is directly going to impact our industry. Um,
absolutely.
and
Completely.
and
And
and it's
yeah.
yeah. Please continue.
Um, yes, I mean, in terms of the COVID thing, is I worked on two at the same time on two different soapies. And the lady who played my wife in the one soapy, Saranti Reeders, she was a musician and she also an actress, and she played my wife, and she died of COVID. And at the same time, I was at Binnenlanders, and at the same time, Ben Kruger died. So
Yeah,
it was like
yeah,
two of his friends and colleagues that just, apart from the others that passed away because of COVID, so it affected everybody in what
it
industry,
does.
in what walk of life, and it's
It did.
we can still feel the pressure to get, well, not the pressure,
Yeah.
the yearning to get out of that grip that COVID had. It's what, 2 years, no, 3 years later. 3 years
Mm.
later, where are we
It's
now?
actually it's actually almost 4 years now, maybe
It's
five,
almost 4 years. Yes.
mm, and
Yeah.
it's there's still been no solution, or rather, man, I actually don't want to meander too much down this line because it's something
Yes.
I'm actually
Absolutely.
currently working on, I'm talking from personal experience here, is that just a
Sorry about that.
don't worry,
Oh,
just
goodness. I'm just gonna
old
put
school
this
phone. I've got the same ringtone
on.
actually.
I forgot. I hope my language is acceptable.
Nah, you can say fuck and shit and that. Don't worry. Um,
Wonderful.
like I say, I'm not here to censor. Fuck, I'm not
Mm.
here to censor. I'm just interested in art. And I'm not interested in. Of course, there's a certain decorum, but Yeah,
Yes,
don't stress it.
absolutely. Yes. I mean, um, talking of Lucille Gilworth, that'll also tell you something about me. Is I can't remember what year it was, but at PACT we did a production called Sing Jy van Bomme, written by also a wonderful, talented man that passed away way too soon. No, I forgot his name. But at one point, the main character and one of the main character, Umpy, and one of the other characters, there's a meeting between this colonel. And it was quite a political play between this colonel, and it's set in the height of apartheid. And Umpy, and he basically is naked, uh, taking his coat off, and he hands it over to the colonel. And then the censor board uh, came in, and there was one person who complained, and then she was, on the red carpet. And being her assistant on that production as assistant director, I had to carry two huge bags with a lot of books in it. And Lucille was a very, very knowledgeable person about literature. She read a lot, and she was just incredible. I think she was a genius. And the way she basically treated them with incredible respect. And I remember the one person on the board, Rina Pretorius, she was an Afrikaans lecturer at Tukkies. And she had pearls around her neck. And when Lucille would quote from whoever, she was very well prepared. And I remember Rina she literally clutched her pearls. She was so disgusted in Lucille defending or about this nudity. So from a very early age in my career, I was anti-censorship. So I hate censorship as much as you do. So in that
Yeah,
level,
I think censorship really stifles creativity, man. And the age we are in now,
completely.
everything is censored because as artists we need to
Yep,
pander to the algorithm and to government regulations and to corporate. The fact that the
absolutely.
arts is always starving for funding, so you have big corporates coming in, and as much as their money does this and does that, they also have a lot of terms and conditions, man. I mean, look at the
Yeah,
Venice
it's
Biennale
insane.
earlier on this year being censored there too.
Oh,
I mean,
fuck yeah,
that's the
that's
biggest.
insane.
It's absolutely insane,
That's
and
an
it's not a good thing for the arts. It's not. And artists are naturally very reactive and very emotional people. And you will get a reaction. Which
You will get a reaction on. I mean, let's face it. Not because I'm an artist, an actor, director, whatever. But isn't it true that the first segment of society that reacts on whatever happens, whether it's war, whether it's famine, whether it's anything, are the writers and the
yeah,
actors, and obviously journalism. We think about
yeah,
thousands of years ago, and that's and they are in a sense the mirror to
yeah,
society, aren't they? You know,
yeah,
and just to quickly add to the Lucille Gilbert story, what she did eventually, and she couldn't win the case because I mean it was apartheid. Uh,
mm,
she put nappies on him, on it was Tasha's main piece. She put nappies on him with a huge spout, what you call it, a
yeah,
nappy
yeah,
pin.
right. But
And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
how
yeah.
we did the rest of the run. And because of that, and because the people flock, not to see the nappy, but to know why. Why was this censored? Why was the nudity censored? So sometimes it can backfire
It does. It
the
does.
powers that be.
It does. It does. You can go and look at almost every country. Yeah, it
Yep.
does. It's a very tricky. I mean, we can talk. I was gonna bring up Gayton, but let me rather not. I just brought up the name
I
already. I suck.
yeah,
My shoulders
I'm
dropped
afraid
already.
Yeah, I'm afraid you'll have to beat every second word if I have to talk about Dayton Mackenzie. Really. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's
people are
move on.
complaining about yo. Yeah, it's not from you.
No,
But
no,
anyway,
no.
Andre, let's say yeah, let's get a bit into your story. I mean, you already mentioned of working through the 80s. You got a background in theater, script writing, and
Mm.
so forth. Yeah, just give us a brief about your background, various highlights, that type of thing, and yeah,
Yeah, like Amanda straight on, and I watched the
yeah.
episode with
Thanks for
her.
that.
It's wonderful. It is wonderful.
Thank you.
And I mean, I know Amanda. She was 2 years ahead of me at Pretoria Universiteit at the drama department there. So I know Amanda, and in my first year, they did a cabaret show, and I was in my first year. She was in the third year, and I sort of sneaked into the theater and I sort of peeped through the curtains right at the back. And Amanda was leaning against the pros arch singing. And I fell in love instantly with this. I didn't see her, I didn't know her. I just fell in love with this voice and her
Yeah,
presence. So,
yeah,
it's very interesting. So I studied a drama at Tucky's. And in my final year, those days we did auditions for literally all the film companies, all the performing arts. So they come from Cape Town, Durban, the whole country, congregate at the university, and we do different pieces for them. And in that audience was Stefan Bauer, who was a prolific poet, but he also directed a lot for plays, classical plays, Strindberg, Ibsen, and Anton Chekhov that he put on television. Well, now we talk about the 80s, mid 80s to about 81. And because of the audition, he asked me to come and audition for a part in Chekhov's, well, we did it in Afrikaans, Die Kersituin, which is the cherry orchard. And I auditioned, and it all went very well. I was very nervous. And then I asked him, who's going to play Trofimov, who is the young eternal student in the play? And he didn't answer me. He just looked at me and he paused and he took the script and he paged through it and he said, okay, can you go out for, say, half an hour and come back and look at this monologue? And I went, what am I doing? Was my audition that bad? And I looked at it, and it was a monologue of Trofimov. And I think it was about half an hour or so, I went back in and he said, okay, you don't obviously just read it. I just want to see. And I got halfway through this monologue and he stopped me and he said, I found my Trofimov, which was incredible. So in my final year, I did this huge television production we're talking about giants, Siegfried Maynard, Patrick Maynard, Lerina Erasmus, and they all, passed on. And Marius Weyers and Greta Fox. And I sat there with a friend of mine. She was also cast from the same class, a drama class. And we were so nervous. We were so nervous because the first reading of this play, everybody just gave performances. And we sat and thought, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is just, it's too much. Here I'm sitting opposite Wilna Snyman, who was, she was on a pedestal like the others when we were at varsity. Now I'm sitting opposite her and I have to perform. It was very, very, very difficult. But obviously we got through it. And so that was my first major job, gig on television was with Chekhov. And that also ignited my love and compassion as well, but obsession with
yeah.
this Russian writer, Chekhov. And just to cut to the car chase, when I worked with Lucille on Sinje van Bomme at Pact, and then the next year she did a play by Risa de Wet called Nacht Generaal, Good Night General. about the Anglo-Boer War. Pardon me. And I also assisted her in that production, but I also played a small part in this production. And there I met Risa de Wet in person. And since that day, we just clicked, and she's quite enigmatic, this woman. And immediately we started talking about this and that, and I mentioned Anton Chekhov, and she looked at me and she said, "Do you like Anton?" I said, I love him too. So that relationship between Risa and myself in terms of Anton Chekhov never died. Unfortunately, she passed away also way, 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 way too young. So that in my career, the line of Chekhov and Risa de Wet is very prominent. And so just to get move away from the Market Theatre, it was done at the Market Theatre, is so many years later. Well, not, yeah, I can't remember now how many years later, but Risa phoned me. It was 2008, actually. Risa phoned me to say one of her plays called Miss, the English translation would be Missing or Missed. Fascinating play, has been prescribed nationally for the grade 12 learners. And she said, pardon me, she said, please do a production for the schools. And I thought, oh, well, okay, I don't know how to do it. Where do I start? And I agreed, and we started with just a couple of schools in central Gauteng and the East Rand, and one or two in Pretoria. And then immediately I got emails and phone calls from schools in Vrede and in Koffiefontein and in Bloemfontein to say, please come to our school. We heard about this production. And that started my next chapter in my career, doing a full-on production of set works for grade 11 and 12. And up to this day, that's what I've been doing, except, of course, the 2 years of the pest. So that apart from, doing theatre and doing television and film work, that has been my main focus the last 10 years, is traveling the entire country with wonderful actors, and putting on this play at a school, and all the other schools in that city or town or district would congregate at the school. We take our own lights, our own sound, and we turn that school hall into a theatre. And it's been going well, and every year the amount of students or the amount of schools that would like to be part of this tour just accumulates. It just get more and more
That's
and
great.
more.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful to see young audiences, because the majority of them, we're talking about like this year, it's small towns like Graafrenet, Knysna, Swellendam, and all the way through to Cape Town. We do some of the wonderful schools there in the northern suburbs. We also cater for well, not Mitchells Plain necessarily, more Excelsior there, John Ramsey, that area there in Cape Town on the flats. And then we go all the way up to Atlantis, Ceres, and we visit Beaufort West. So, and to see those learners sitting there, most of them have never been in a theatre. They only know television and games, and TikTok and all of that. They can afford it. And how they react to seeing actors performing and witnessing real emotions for an hour and 20 minutes. It is incredible how they are completely drawn into the story that they witness. And this specific Onderwereld by Fanie Viljoen is a wonderful novel that I adapted for theatre, and it deals with matriculants. The main character is in matric, and he's the Victor Ludorum. He's the captain of the first rugby team. His father is a big dude in the media. And then another guy comes in, a stranger, and he's a hacker. And during the story, he teaches the main character, Greg, how to hack. So he infiltrates Greg's life and teach him how to hack. But there's a purpose to this process. And why it's also so successful is it deals with hacking, the danger of all these social media stuff. It deals with the relationship between friends at that very impressionable age. It deals with 17-year-old, their relationship with their father and with their mother. And also, it's not dragged in by the hair, but it touches on teenage suicide.
Sure.
And they just sit there and they identify. And by the end, you sit there and you can, my God, they are crying. And you see them cry. So they don't only understand the novel better, they were exposed to theater, and a lot of times the feedback I get is they talk about the emotion. They say, I never thought that I would sit in a school hall and experience the emotions that I experienced here. They go, the actors, the way they express themselves, the emotions. So that to me is an incredible.
Fantastic.
And say it's an achievement for the whole
Yeah.
ensemble to touch
Yeah.
youngsters on stage in a hall, so that's I'm so happy that Riza basically ignited this whole thing of the schools.
That's brilliant, man. I actually wanted to ask you about the relationship between TV and theater. But I think just for time reasons and so forth,
Yeah,
because I want to get into Mike van Grant's play. But I just want to comment
absolutely, yes,
on one thing though, real quick. I think that's fantastic. Um, um, you mentioned like kids. I mean, I can speak from experience too. Their interaction with or seeing real play done in front of them, because most of their life experiences unfortunately comes through a screen, and that is
yes,
limiting on many ways. So I think that is it's actually just another point. And I preview and feature quite and I talk quite a bit to various theater productions mostly across Gauteng. But
sorry about that.
it's really interesting, and it's encouraging to see how theater as a medium is growing. And I'm talking all post COVID now. How it
Yeah,
is growing. Also just in terms of audience. One would
development.
think that tech would be, these tech platforms will start running away or start taking away. But I don't actually see that. I actually see quite the opposite. And also independent theater practitioners more and more just jumping out of the woodwork with incredible productions. Not and what I find incredibly encouraging is how everyone is just working with what they have, as opposed to complaining
Mm,
about what they don't have, and then
yes.
using those tools and effectively. And I think that should be celebrated.
Are you based in Cape Town, Wesley?
No, I'm based in Kimberley. I was
Yeah,
in
in
Joburg for
Kimberley.
about 20 years. And then COVID hit.
Okay,
And
okay.
with COVID, my gallery didn't go too well. I did another show in 2021, and then I got cut full of everything. I couldn't go back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I had to pivot. And yeah, what I'm doing now, besides just the podcasting, we're also building I've also pivoted into tech. And I'm working with developers, and we're
That's
building a platform. And
that's
my
wonderful.
my my
That's
my
wonderful.
Thank you, man. Ash, man, I can go on and on about that, but I will, but I will touch. I'll get your opinions on tech a little bit later, and maybe I'll just
Yes.
add a bit more to what I'm doing. But I wanna
Yeah.
get to Life with Love,
To
the
life
one man
with
play.
love. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by Mike van Graan. There's something that I picked up in the press release, and I'd like you just to explain to it. They say you're doing it as a reading. Just
Yes.
explain that to me. What's the difference there, and what's it about?
Uh,
And just explain to me what the play is about.
Absolutely. Completely. Let me just quickly take you back to
Please.
pardon me, to in the early 2000s. We had a uh, the actors. No, what would you call it? The actor center. Sorry, the actor center at Joburg Theatre,
Mm.
down in the. It used to be the Paul Roos. Now it's, I think, the Space. A
Yeah,
beautiful little theatre at the
I'm
bottom,
familiar with it.
and
Yeah.
Dorothy Ann Gould started this whole thing, and I was on the board there, and I did a lot of stage readings there, specifically of Anton Chekhov, in English, mostly in English. And what a stage reading is, it's not a person standing behind a microphone reading the play. It is basically you would get actors that's really, really capable, and that are brave enough to take the script. Say we talk about The Seagull, a Chekhov play. Uh, I had Greta Fox there, James Borthwick, Dale Cutts, and a lot of wonderful people. And instead of memorizing the lines, because there's no funds to pay people to work after rehearsals to learn their lines, there's otherwise you have to. So
Mm.
this is a way to give actors an opportunity to perform with all they have, but they don't need to memorize the lines. So it's a play. Major difference is with lights, plotting everything. People move. You plot the entire thing. You choreograph the whole play. The only difference is they have the script in their hands. So it's not a
Okay,
watered down. Yeah, it's
I
not
get
a
it.
watered down rendition of the play. Yeah,
I
it's
get
not
it.
like a poetry reading.
Mm.
Yeah, not that I say poetry readings are watered down, not at all.
No, no, I
And
get you. I get you.
you get me. So it is very exciting. I remember one actress, fairly famous, was a prominent actress in this industry. Just before we went on with the stage reading, she just said, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is too much. I cannot do it. I don't know where to put this. And I just said, you have the tools. You've got so many years' experience. Just trust the process. And she gave an incredible performance with a script in her hand. So basically, what's going to happen with to Life with Love is, just quickly a background of where it started is,
Yeah, please.
John Matham. He's a Cape Town based host on Cape Talk Radio, and he commissioned Mike van Graan to write him a one-person play, and he gave him carte blanche. And then Mike decided to write this play, uh, because they're both in their 60s, they're both the same age as I am, strangely enough, synchronicity. And they both had health challenges, and he decided to write this piece that is that reflected on subjects that's often taboo, that's sort of shoved to the side. I mean, aging, mortality, we spoke about that, uh, dread diseases, and mental wellness. I mean, we all are connected with that in some way, in families, with colleagues, with friends, neighbors, all of that. So this play went. Before I continue with that, I read in 2011. I read, um, what's his name now? Sean Davison. He's the guy who was in house arrest in New Zealand because he committed, what is it called? He basically put his mother to sleep. She was a cancer patient. He's a
Oh, the
doctor.
euthanasia. Yeah.
And eventually he was a professor in Cape Town. It was huge. It's still huge news. Um, because he's very pro euthanasia. And I have always been pro euthanasia because I had to make a decision when my mom, she was 85, and she just suffered, and I just said, "Where's the morphine?" And the doctor said, "You know what it means?" I said, "I know exactly what it means." And so it's those things that one are confronted, and the main character in this play is also confronted with that, not his own death, but the choices, or his wish after he died, and the wish if he gets into a dreadful illness, what must happen to him. And he lost his wife to frontotemporal dementia. And the question in the play, at one point he says, she was not very pro, taking that step of dying with dignity, and how he's struggling with that, and how he crossed, the threshold into deciding that is what I want. And the play starts with him giving a living testament on camera for his sibling and his two daughters. So it is about, it is about life, and it is about this age of being in your late 60s. So when I read on Facebook about this play, it immediately resonated with me. And I contacted Mike, that I've known from before, and I asked him, I said, "Mike, is there perhaps an Afrikaans actor our age that have, requested or inquired about doing this in Afrikaans?" And he said, "No." I said, "May I translate it into Afrikaans?" And he said, "Yes, of course, that we wanted." So I started translating it from the English into Afrikaans, and that was supposed to happen sometime next year. And then Mike phoned me to say, "Listen, we were supposed to do it in Joburg, but the actor who should have come up to Joburg is not available anymore. But I still would like to do a stage reading in Joburg." And he said, "Would you do it?" And of course I said, yes, I would. So that's how I got involved with this beautiful, beautiful play of Mike.
Yeah, thanks for that, man. It's got some real adult themes. Maybe
It is
adult is not
adult,
the right word, but like it's, I would say
mature,
mature
mature.
theme. Yeah,
Yes, senior
mature.
citizen, it seems.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah. No,
he
please
describes
continue.
it, through Life with Love, he describes it as a poetic riff on those themes that I've mentioned earlier, as told by the character Thomas Michael Faulkner, confronted by life-changing encounters. So it is the age where you also, if you have if you are a lot Lamiki, and you still have parents that are alive at when you're 60, they must be in their late 80s. Or even if you're 40, or your parents, there's always that fear, the thought of you're going to lose your parents because they're older than you. And when it happens, it's devastating. Of course, it's devastating, but there's no, um, I could put it, uh, people. There's not a group of people,
I totally get
counselors
what
that
you said.
can help
I
talk you
totally get
through
what
it.
you said. I get what you said.
Exactly. Uh, yes. So one sort of just puts it aside. Yeah, my mum died. It was horrible, and you carry on with life. But it sits in in your bones. It sits in your bones, and so everybody is confronted with mortality. But it's a
Absolutely.
subject we really want to talk about.
Yeah. You're
So,
saying about a subject you don't want to talk about. What I've just noticed, as you're saying, I'm trying to run through my mind of, I actually don't know many. Uh, across every genre, music, books, so forth, playwriting, that deals with primarily with people post, let's say, age of 50 and onwards, and dealing with
Mm.
things like with immortality. Most productions, not necessarily just productions, but most genres of art try to make the product young, um try to
Yeah,
appeal
yeah.
to young people, try to involve young people and so forth, and there's nothing really wrong with that, but very little for in fact, this is probably the first time I've heard of it, which is great. So it actually leads me to my next question. So I mean, this gonna be at the Pop Art Theater, right? On the 28th of
28th
May.
of May.
Um, are you guys specifically just marketing this production for older people, or is it or you
Mm,
try to sort of trying to bring this topic more to the mainstream, and have everybody
I
talk
think
about it?
definitely mainstream. I don't know exactly who is doing the marketing, but I think it is a play that youngsters should see. I'm not
Yeah,
saying, 14,
yeah, I
15 year
agree.
olds, but when they're in their adolescence, because I mean, I always approach any piece, theatre text, with humor. Sometimes it's very dry,
Mm.
but the humor is there because it's the opposite. If you have darkness, like
Yeah,
mortality,
yeah,
death, you
yeah,
must
yeah,
have
I get it.
light. Otherwise, you
Yeah,
won't have
yeah, yeah,
shadows.
dualities,
So
yeah.
yeah, and I think, well, if if it happens so that I'm going to do it in Afrikaans, or maybe continue doing it in English, if I do, if I, you know, serve the play rightly so, uh,
Mhm,
I would love to take it to schools
mhm.
because it's not a play that you need major lighting and sets and costumes and props. 3 chairs on the stage because there are sort of three different areas in his mind while he's telling the story, and you can do it under a tree, you know,
Mhm.
and I don't think learners will find it boring. Maybe they would. I don't know. But I think they it would make them understand age, getting older, and what it means to sort of when you in your sort of autumn years. It sounds very melodramatic, but as you say, there's not a lot of material about that
Nope,
topic.
nope,
It is
nope.
about,
And just to
yeah,
highlight, I mean,
about a lot of plays. Sorry, I mean,
no,
a lot of plays about teenage suicide, about
yeah,
stuff like that. It's extremely important. We have to address those issues. But I think in
but not a
terms
lot
of,
for
well,
middle age.
not for
There's
middle-aged people, yeah.
It's almost like you forgot
Yeah,
them.
yes. And because it's a one-person show, it would be very easy to travel. And I'm not
Mm,
only talking about the Afrikaans
mm,
festival
mm,
circuit, which I would love to do, and take it to the platteland and take it to to get it a church or a school to invest in that and say, okay, we will market it. We have 50 people. We sold 50 tickets. I will go. I will do it. I will do it, for 50 people. So this is really very, very exciting, but it's going to be a challenge for me because I haven't been on stage. It's been a while. It's been a while because I focused more on
on TV first.
producing
Yeah,
and directing
yeah.
the
But isn't
touring
it
to
like learning how
schools.
to ride a bicycle? Even if you haven't ridden one for years, it just takes one or two takes, and then you're
It
literally
it
on your
it
way.
is. Absolutely, it is. But I've been working with people, senior my age,
Mm,
uh,
mm,
and you would always think because they've been in theatre for 40 years, 50 years, they don't get Stage fright. Well, it's not stage fright. They don't get nervous and
Still
anxious.
there.
No, no, this is not guy. You stand there at the age of 70 or 65 and
Yeah.
you are sitting in your trousers. I've
Yeah,
seen
that must
many
be quite
people.
refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up I guess it's a personal point, but I mean, I don't mind sharing it. So, excuse me. My parents are in ill health, both of them, and
Okay.
the one is pretty bad actually, and it's actually quite in talking to my siblings about what's happening and what's potentially gonna happen. You mentioned earlier on that if you talk teen suicide and all of that, there's a lot of
Yeah.
social groups and platforms and networking and so forth where you can get some form of
Yes,
community,
exactly.
but not a lot for the latter. So we've kind of just been winging it and just I guess trying to make sure that at least all the business side is taken care of. So when the hammer
Exactly.
does fall, at
Absolutely.
least.
Yes.
But it's actually, I agree with you there. There's very little, and it is such a real thing. Um, it
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 is
it
the
impacts literally
reality is
every
stark.
single body on the planet.
Exactly. And I mean, your age, in your 40s or late 30s, 40s into early 50s,
Yeah,
people
late
are
40s.
dealing with parents, apart from cancer and all of those other things, but people developing dementia or Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no
yeah.
community or a support system. That's the word I was
And
looking
it's
for earlier.
difficult. I
A
can tell you
support
that because
system.
that's exactly what
No,
I'm dealing with here. It's very difficult.
there's no support
There's sort of
system.
a light that was there that is now getting dimmer and dimmer. And
Yes,
as the
horrible.
light gets dimmer, at least on my side, it's just attracting a lot of shit, and it's challenging. It's challenging. I totally get
Yes.
you there.
Yeah, and I think maybe, a couple of, I mean, I've lost my father in 1967, so, but getting people together, like artists, writers, producers, and maybe do start a support group for people in midlife dealing with parents who are dying. As you say, the light sort of gets dimmer and dimmer. How do you deal with that? There's not, I mean, yeah, you can go to your pastor or your
I
dominee,
mean,
but not all of them are equipped to really deal with that or
yeah, man,
advise
and
you. And
and you're right there. It's again, I'm talking from my literal personal experience. Yeah, I'm currently dealing with it. Um,
mm,
the one major challenge I have is whenever I hear something fall or a sound that I'm not accustomed to, because I always pick up patterns in everything in life. I always look at patterns.
mhm,
So if a gate opens
yes,
or closes, makes it very specific. The dog barks and so forth. Um, so I'm always listening to different, and if I hear something that I'm not used to, or I don't hear it, an alarm bell goes off. So I'm constantly reacting to different sounds, because my studio is here at the back, and the house is in front. Um
mhm,
so but I can still hear, for example, like the toilet flushes and the TV's on and so
yes,
forth.
yeah,
Like if a cup should fall, like I'm always reacting, and that type of constantly having to react and having to react, it's tiring as fuck, and it stresses me. I in this part of my life, I've just got a different appreciation of silence. There's a type of
okay,
meditation I have with silence. I just appreciate the like there's a certain time of the day, it's in the evening, of course, when everything is silent. Like I guess that's the only time of the day that my mind really gets to sort of just relax and just to calm down. Because again, like you mentioned, and I'm winging this like I've never, and there's nobody else that I know that has experienced this. Friends of mine's parents has passed on, but it's all different. Um, so and nobody talks about that shit. Nobody. Other
Yeah.
than the actual tragedy itself. So yeah,
mm,
I can totally relate to what you're saying.
Perhaps, I hope Mike will listen or, get to hear this podcast. Maybe one should prompt him to write a play about it.
Sure.
He wrote this wonderful play, but it's not dealing necessarily with what we are talking about this fun net, what you call it, what they have in the circuses when the trapeze artists
Oh
fall,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
this
That net, yeah, yeah. That people follow. Yeah, yeah. I get you. Like sort of.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
catching
yeah,
net.
yeah. I
Yeah,
see the metaphor. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We
No,
don't
it's
have
real,
that
man.
in society. Not in our
Nope,
society, not in the Western world. We don't have that
nope,
because it's taboo.
nope.
Let's just, just carry on with life. Just deal with it. Get a life. Just go on.
Yeah,
It's not that easy. And
yeah.
sometimes we pretend that it's okay.
And just to add another layer on it, I mean, I'm an artist. I'm a creative person. So
Mm.
artists, when they are conceptualizing and making work, you are pulling that emotion or conceptualizing that emotion, pardon, the art based off emotion. And if your
Mm.
emotions or your I guess just your general aura is dark and morbid, it impacts the work directly. And
Oh,
that
it
that actually
does.
has a direct impact in, finances eventually, because the work is not as vibrant or is as this or as that, whatever the fuck some critic has to say,
Yeah,
or some art dealer, whatever nonsense. Um, and and and
absolutely.
and 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 there's very little that's why I mean, there's not the direct reason, but I've got so much art that's lying around me here that is just ideas, and it's just doodling, and in many ways it's just how I'm feeling right now. And it's just to sort of just to get rid of something. And like you mentioned, like we all just winging this, and it's something that I'm actually quite concerned about. Is I don't know what it's gonna be like 2 or 3 years down the line, and so
Mm.
forth, if it'll impact. Yeah, so the challenge is real, man. And I mean, it's just really interesting how you saying how you putting it together, um what themes you are talking about. Fascinating stuff, man. Really,
It
really, really
is.
interesting stuff.
Yeah. If I might
Can
ask,
you just please?
yes.
No, go ahead.
No, no, I was about to ask, do your siblings, how many siblings do you have and where do you fit in?
I'm the eldest. I've got two
Okay.
sisters.
Yeah.
They look post. They all married and got their own families and
Yeah.
whatnot. I'm not married clearly, but I
They like that.
I won't get into all of that. I'm an artist. I yeah, there's some stereotypes which probably is me. I won't even
Mhm.
deny that. I won't even run away. Or rather, let me say, I'll wear that. And
Oh, well.
post COVID, I had to literally look after my parents. That's also one of the reasons why coming home made more sense.
Yes.
Because I could, and also I want to. Uh, it's not. Yeah, I wasn't forced to do it. I wanted to. I'm also
Mm.
Pan-Africanist, so I believe in
Mm.
respecting and taking care of one's elders, especially if you've got the means to. So it's not a. This is
Yes.
not an albatross around my neck, but it is
Mm.
impacting me. It is. I
Of
can't
course it
deny
is.
that in many ways.
Of
But it's
course
not an
it is.
albatross around my neck. But it like I said, the challenges that comes with it. I have to wing it. Um, and
Yes.
I in many
Absolutely.
ways I see it as a bit of a blessing. Obviously, there's a bit of a curse to it, so it's got a duality. But the blessing side of it is that I get to sort of make their latter part of their years a bit more comfortable, and that definitely fuels me. It's very good for me. Because it would have been hell if I was
Well,
still
you
stuck
say you blessed.
running after galleries, chasing
Exactly.
art sales while my parents are
Yes.
literally
But
dying on the other side of the world. That
yeah,
would have fucked me
but
up
just the other
even
flip
more.
of the other side of the coin is you say you blessed, they blessed to have you and
Yeah,
get your
yeah,
siblings,
yeah,
which is quite
yeah,
interesting if you're the older one, because in a lot of a lot of families, I'm the youngest of five, and I'm the only one in the family that's still alive. Uh, Sometimes it falls on the youngest child to look
yeah,
after aged parent or an ill parent.
yeah.
And it was the case with me. Eventually, I was given this mantle around my shoulders to say, this is your journey. And yes, it was very, very difficult at for quite a long time. But fortunately, I did have a counselor at an old age home
Okay.
uh, who said, you must always remember that it's not your life, it is your mother's life. And only she can live that life. You can just make it comfortable for her and give her as much. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly
It's
what you
not
said.
as simple as that. But one must
Mm.
also always remember that it's a two-way street, and sometimes that two-way street becomes a one-way, and one has to accept that and find the silence and the peace to deal with that, and that being part of the entire life thing. Life is not easy, bro.
No, it's not.
It's
No,
not
I don't
easy,
think it
but
ever was.
no, it ever was. But we must just remind ourselves of yin yang, a light and shade, light and shade. That's
Yeah,
what
man.
it is.
Also, like, just in closing, man. I'm a proud Pan Africanist, man, and I believe in the family unit. And I'm not too. I mean, I left home when I was 18, and I
Mm,
returned literally when COVID happened. So for the better part of
sure.
my entire adult life I was all over the country, mostly in
Yeah.
Gauteng. I ended up in Joburg for a long time, and
Okay.
I eventually, yeah, man. Like I mentioned, I just couldn't live with myself. Me living it up on one side of the world, and I have got the
Mm,
means of taking care of, or worse still, having to pay somebody else to do it, or even worse, or putting him into an old age home, because I'll fucking never do that. I'll never do that.
yes, that's yeah.
I find that is sort of me failing as a child. Um
It
I
is.
don't
Yeah.
it's expensive. It was just never an option for me. And then as life should happen, COVID happened, and also just the yeah, things got it just all made sense. And I'm dealing with it. But Andre, man, let's actually wrap it up there, man, because I
Yeah.
find this was you covered some really interesting themes here. Really
Some
fascinating
deep
stuff.
shit, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fascinating stuff, man. I think, like I mentioned, I've never seen a play, or any form of art really dealing with these type of themes. So this is
Mm,
just a side note. As a podcaster, um, I try not to pander towards algorithms, right? So these
mm.
youth, because I publish on YouTube, right? They will always suggest
Yes.
all this cuck, man. I'm as sensation as this, and talk about Gayton and talk about politics, and if it like I can't
No,
do
no,
that.
no, no. Yes, stop. Stop
I'm
on.
interested in art and artists. And
Yeah.
this topic here also, given with the tragedy that happened to, I mean, with Maria McCloy, I think it's quite a fitting
Yeah.
episode this week, actually, and I'm grateful.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Mike. Andre,
Yeah,
sorry.
this was a really, I feel, yeah, thank you. It was a fucking lekker chat. It was. And I
Thanks,
think
man.
we've got some, yeah, this is really like I didn't expect it to be so so rewarding. That's all I can say.
Rewarding.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
It was
Can we just wrap
rewarding.
it up?
It
Like
was.
if there's social media handles, websites, stuff like that. If people want to view your work, maybe a YouTube channel.
Oh,
If people want to see you in every
fuck.
work. And
No, I am absolutely useless. I literally have, no, I am the pits. I'm not a technophobe, but I have no TikTok. I have no Instagram. I think this new thing that came up, Substack. I don't
Substack,
even know
yeah.
what it is. Yeah. And all these things. I have Facebook. I have Facebook just to check on people. And I have YouTube basically to listen to music, which is always a part of my life. And when I get
Nothing
up,
wrong with it.
put on, put on the
Absolutely
TV so I
nothing
can
wrong with
listen.
it.
No, it isn't.
There's
So I have
nothing.
no handle, only on my hips. So that is it. I'm fairly useless when it
Nothing
comes
wrong
to
with it.
social media.
Yeah, so I'll just add your Facebook handle. And I'll put up the pop arts link there with different information regarding the
Yeah,
production. And just to recap,
brilliant.
To Life with Love will take place at the Pop Art Theatre in Johannesburg on the not 13th. Whoops, where are my dates? Oh, yeah. On the 28th of May,
28.
at 7 o'clock, and
Yeah.
it's $50 at the door. And I'm sure there's a web ticket or
Is
something
that
as
all?
well.
I thought it was going to be
Yeah.
500. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
No, that's the whole idea.
just an interesting point on the $50. That is like probably the most affordable ticket price I think you will get. Most theater productions is north of $100. Sometimes 150,
Yeah,
200, depending on where it is.
if
So
you go
50 is very reasonable.
if you go to these big musicals, you pay, I mean, I wouldn't even tell you. So I'm very, very pleased that the entrance is as low as that. I think that's also the whole philosophy of pop art, is to make it accessible and affordable for people and be experimental, be brave.
That's pretty important. And I think just in terms of production, marketing wise, I'll definitely lead with that over there.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Andre, what I will do is, my brother, I will publish this episode most probably on next week Wednesday, maybe Tuesday,
Okay.
Wednesday, but I'll let you know. I usually premiere it all around 10:15, 10:30 in the morning. I will send you the
Okay.
links, the ones that is up, and then
Brilliant.
I chop it up into shorts. I'll probably do quite a few for this one. Usually I try to do about 5 or 6 per episode, but I mean we've been talking for about an hour, so it'll probably be about 6. And I do that a few days later. That also just keeps it also brings in new traffic to the episode, and it's it's a very effective. The short format is unfortunately the way the world is moving. Every bit of production, bit of art that you're doing, even music, you have to have small, bite-sized content. It is actually effective and it does my channel wonders, but I don't really like it,
Well,
I always feel people should talk and listen.
Yes, the only podcasts, frankly, I watch, not only, but it's an obsession. And please don't fall off your chair. But it's podcast, American, podcasters and influencers, young people, black, white, colored from America, reporting on Trump. I am obsessed about Trump at the moment because every morning I'll watch a podcast, favorite, just to say, has he been assassinated? Has he died in his sleep? Has the world been relieved of this?
Unfortunately, he's still alive. He's probably the worst thing that has happened to society in the past, actually 50 years, I would say.
Yeah,
probably one of the worst
exactly.
things. And
Yeah, but
he's a direct reason
yeah,
why
some
we're
time
paying
ago.
almost $30 a fucking liter of petrol.
Exactly. But just the last thing, I just want to say that because some time ago
Please,
I said to
please
my
do.
friends, you know, what his whole thing is, he wants to go down in history as the Julius Caesar, as the Napoleon, as but he's going to go down as the Caligula and the Stalin. So he's not a hero going down. And apparently he said that I am the most
Uh,
powerful person in history, more powerful than, he said, Julius Caesar and Napoleon. So that is how sick he is. Anyway, let's move
it's
on
such a
to
it's
my
such
cup
a
of coffee.
it's such a tragedy.
It is.
What happened there? I have many I have a lot of good friends in the US, and it's hell. It's difficult. And all this shit.
It is very
Yeah.
difficult.
Anyway, but the same emotion there goes with Gaten. I think that these politicians are horrible, and it's a threat. Yeah, but anyway, Andre, I sort of want to leave on a positive note. Yeah, I don't want to leave on a
Yes, let's do. Let's
on
do.
a Trump thing. Yeah, 28th of May. Like I said, at 7 o'clock, Pop Theater. Andre, this was fantastic, my brother. Again, thanks for sharing your story. Thanks for explaining everything in detail. Just a technical thing here. So, like I mentioned before we recorded, don't worry about the no image thing. I'll sort it out. Yeah,
Okay,
just send
fantastic. Yeah.
me maybe 3 photos. I think I'll use a
I
combination
will
of all
send you.
three. I won't just use one photo. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then I'll be in touch with on WhatsApp with regards to when we go live.
brilliant. Thank you for your time, Wesley. Thank you for
Thank you very much,
everybody.
my brother. I appreciate it too
And
much. Yeah, take care. Enjoy your
have
weekend.
a wonderful day. Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye.